Welcome to Conflict News 24. Some news stories for you. First one is from Ukraine. In Donetsk region, Russian and allied forces have been trying to take control of Bakhmut city for months. Now they are making some gains to the east and to the south and southwest of Bakhmut city. We have details for you. Secondly, Chinese President Xi Jinping is on a historic visit in Saudi Arabia. There several bilateral agreements have been signed. What is the significance of this visit? We know that Joe Biden visited Saudi Arabia in July, I think. So, if you compare the welcome accorded to Xi Jinping and Biden, who was more warmly welcomed? And thirdly, viewers, East Congo conflict, where opposition Congolese fighters have announced to withdraw and respect ceasefire, but tensions remain there. A UN peacekeepers convoy was attacked by locals in East Congo a few hours ago, and in firing by peacekeepers and security officials, at least one local died. One death is being confirmed. Firstly, viewers, Russia-Ukraine conflict, where Russia had ambitions, very towering ambitions when it invaded Ukraine in February. It tried to take control of Kiev through entry from Belarus through airborne operations. Later, Russia, I think, decided to go for some modest targets, and it withdrew from near Kiev. And last month, it withdrew from the areas in Kherson. Kherson city was vacated by Russians. Now, Russians have small targets, but gradually they are trying to achieve the targets. They don't want to reach Kiev now, but they want to continue their offensive on the ground in Lugansk and Donetsk, in Zaporizhia too, perhaps. In Donetsk, we know that for months, Russian and allied forces have been trying to enter Bakhmut city. Bakhmut is very strategic because if Bakhmut fell, it would open the door for Russians to attack Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, two other main cities in this zone. Ukrainians have been trying to defend Bakhmut for months, and they have been defending. But now Russians are gradually encircling Bakhmut city. From eastern side, Russian and allied forces have entered Bakhmut, and some industrial units in the eastern part of Bakhmut have come under Russian control. But major pressure is coming from southern and western side, especially southern side, southwestern side, where, if you remember, a few days ago I reported that Bakhmut-Harlivka road was taken by Russians, almost entire road, and now they are crossing this road and they have bypassed a place called Opaitane. You can see on this map Opaitane, situated to the west, to the south of Bakhmut. Russians have bypassed this place and they have managed to reach very close to Bakhmut city from southern side. Around 1 kilometer away from Bakhmut city are now Russian forces. And in eastern direction, they have already entered Bakhmut. Ukrainians still are trying to defend Bakhmut. Yes, they have their supply lines available from western and northern sides. Supplies are reaching Bakhmut. So it's not that Ukrainian forces are under siege in Bakhmut, but Russian and allied forces, they have managed to reach very close to, they have entered Bakhmut, though large area of the city is still under Ukrainian control. But it seems that Russians will intensify their operations and they could take entire Bakhmut maybe in coming days if they keep on progressing at the same speed. They have managed to cover two sides and they'll try to storm the city now from these directions. Secondly, viewers, Chinese President Xi Jinping is on a historic visit in Saudi Arabia. On Wednesday, he arrived there, welcomed by Mohammed bin Salman, and around 34 agreements were signed between two countries. $30 billion worth agreements were signed. What is the strategic significance? What is the significance of this visit for the region, Middle East, for US-Middle East relations, for Middle East-China relations? Firstly, China needs the Middle East. Why? Because China is the largest consumer of energy. And Chinese industries need gas and fuel. Qatar providing gas to China, and other countries of Middle East providing oil to China. And obviously, these Middle Eastern countries, they import from China too. So Middle East is China's need, China's partner. Secondly, Saudi Arabia is showing itself as the leader of Muslim countries. That is why Saudi Arabia has invited other countries as well. And a meeting is due to be held between Muslim countries, some Arab countries, leaders, and Xi Jinping in Saudi Arabia in coming hours. From Somalia, Hassan Sheikh is arriving. From Sudan, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan is arriving. And from Egypt, Sisi arriving there. So Saudi Arabia is sending a message to China that it is the leading country in the Muslim world, which it is, owing to some reasons, because Saudi Arabia is home to the holiest place for Muslims, Baitullah. Secondly, Saudi Arabia, a rich country, supports Muslim countries. Thirdly, Saudi Arabia-US relations have remained strained lately. It started, I think, 3 to 4 years ago when Jamal Khashoggi was murdered, and his murder, and Mohammed bin Salman was accused of the murder. He was a US national. He was murdered at a Saudi embassy in Turkey, I think. And we saw pressure on Saudi Arabia from US, but Mohammed bin Salman was not prosecuted. And almost a month ago, we saw renewed tension between the two countries when Saudi Arabia refused to accept US proposal of delaying oil production cuts. And we saw some mutual accusations as well back then. In July, Joe Biden visited Saudi Arabia. Joe Biden and the welcome, according to Joe Biden and Xi Jinping, are very different. Xi Jinping was very warmly welcomed in Saudi Arabia. Arabia is sending a clear message to US that it has other options available too. Saudi Arabia is interested in joining BRICS as well, which is an international platform led by China and Russia. So this visit, which is being seen as a historic visit, will lead to diminished US influence in the Middle East. But we cannot say that US is going to lose its influence in the Middle East. Why? Because Saudi Arabia, UAE, Arab countries, they are traditionally US allies. There are issues of US backing Israel as well in the Middle East. And these countries have some issues among themselves too, like Saudi Arabia, Iran tensions, Turkey, UAE rivalry. So they cannot afford to completely kick US out of the Middle East. US is here in the Middle East. It will be here. But China is now starting to assert itself that it has global reach, which it has, but gradually through its economic decisions, it is increasing, it's enhancing its global reach, which could be a matter of concern for US. US will have to rethink its strategy when it comes to Middle East. Why? Because Iran is supporting Russia in the ongoing war. Turkey, US relations very strained since Biden took office. Now Saudi Arabia sending a message to US that it needs China, and its relation with China is very important for the country. US will have to rethink its foreign policy when it comes to its influence in the Middle East. Lastly, towards East Congo conflict, where we know that M23 Congolese opposition fighters have announced to respect ceasefire and to withdraw from areas under their control. But tensions remain there, so far no withdrawal, ceasefire holding. Meanwhile, around 48 hours ago, MONUSCO, which is UN peacekeeping mission in East Congo, issued a report saying that the 29th and 30th of November, M23 fighters killed 131 innocent civilians in Kashishe and Bambo. Around 102 were men, 17 women, and 12 children. M23 denies. It said the killed were not civilians, they were members of FDLR, Maimaniyatra militias. And M23 fighters issued a statement rejecting MONUSCO's report about civilian massacre in Kashish and Bambo. And today, an attack was carried out on a UN convoy, MONUSCO convoy in East Congo. It happened in Kanyaruchinia. Kanyaruchinia is in East Congo. Some locals tried to attack a moving convoy of UN peacekeepers, Blue Helmets. And the Blue Helmets, they tried to defend themselves. They shot at the protesters, the attackers rather, who were civilians reportedly. And at least one death is being confirmed. One local died in the firing which happened. Was Blue Helmets involved in the firing at civilians or local police? It's not sure what happened there. But incident happened of firing after locals attacked Blue Helmets in Kanyaruchinia. Who attacked Blue Helmets there? Is M23 behind it? Or are locals not happy with the presence of M23 fighters? No clarity about the situation there, but attack on Blue Helmets in Kanyaruchinia is being confirmed. Withdrawal of M23 has not started so far from Ratchora city, from Kiwanja, from Kabumba, from Rugari, but they have agreed to withdraw. Regional forces arrived in Goma a few weeks ago, especially from Kenya. So far, there is relative calm, no fighting on any front. The two sides are issuing statements. M23, Congolese government issuing statements, accusing each other of killings, of lootings. But overall, there is relative calm in East Congo. Thank you for watching.
Deja sai greve hapa kwa Nyaruchinya. Monisco ililamukia 4h30 na gari za mingi sana. Ninapenda ipite wakaaji bakimbizi hapa wake sipsoneke ile magari yao ni cargaison ya mabunduki juu waende fournir rebelle. Jo directement population megreve mebakimbiza masasi melia sana, lakini kumekufa mtu mmoja directement hapa sai paka Nyaruchinya hapa kwa mwami, kwa mipango ya mwami. Mungu akumbuke Kongo yetu.